Trump's inauguration. I'm going to put this up real quick. I'll share my screen just a second here. Yeah, I want to do a live stream and just a reaction video on the inauguration. You know what I mean? Because don't get me wrong, like, a lot of people hating Trump. A lot of people hate on Trump. Like, I have to admit, at one point, including I did at one point, and then I started doing my own research, and then yeah, I mean, a lot of times people just go off of what they see on the media and stuff like that, and never really dive in deep or really understand what the person is talking about or see what the person is talking about. He's always taking um, somebody else's word for it, and they completely get the message distorted. So, and I was one of those people who did that. I have to admit. Here we at right here. We go right here. Donald Trump, 47th president of the United States. Went to sleep late, woke up early. And the thing is, too, we also have to be real with ourselves on why and how this man won. Okay. Honestly, I truly believe how Donald Trump won is because of the fact that he was being himself. He knew who he was getting. And some of you may not even like that. Some people not even like who he was or how he portrayed himself. However, though, you knew what you was getting. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, unfortunately, yeah, you didn't know what you was getting with that one. If you voted, I'm just saying, like, and I'm not going to shit on somebody for who they vote for. You know what I mean? Because, hey, to be honest, people shit on me for voting for Trump. But I also have to remind those same people that have shit on me that I voted for Trump. I have to remind those, don't forget, like, dude, I've also voted for Biden Kamala. We don't want to talk about that. You see what I mean? So anything, those who really put the time in to invest in something, in these politicians, and not really get the results, or not even that. All that have to admit, like, a lot of us, we voted for people we even didn't do our full research. And again, I had to put some accountability on myself for being one of those people. Absolutely. No, but at the end of the day, like I usually kind of tell people, my thing is this. This is my hypothesis, my theory, because I'm not going to cap. It's like, I'm really big when it comes down onto conspiracy theories. Now, do I necessarily agree with a lot of conspiracy theories? Absolutely not. But I'm not going to sit back and act like I'm not going to sit back and describe them, or act like I'm not listening to what people who are like big into conspiracy theories, saying. Because I have to admit, a lot of stuff came true. I used to hear stuff. You guys heard the radio station called Art Bell, Coast to Coast Radio by Art Bell, whatever. My grandma used to play that when I was a kid growing up. I used to hear that on the radio and stuff. They didn't know what they was talking about. I just thought it was very intriguing what they were discussion we having. We'd be having some crazy conversations. But I used to listen to a lot of this stuff and conspiracy theories they talk about and how the future's going to be, and I have to admit, I'll be damn, like it was like almost inevitable. Like, a lot of this stuff came in fruition. So I don't discredit a lot of the conspiracy theories. So I don't just, I look into it. I don't just feel like the window. That's crazy talk, because we also have to admit to ourselves that this country and this world that we live in is crazy. It's crazy. So
it is
when
my
I look at
honor
government,
and pleasure
when
to
I look at government,
introduce
I look
to
at
you
government
the
as
45th and the
at the end of the
47th
day, it's like
President of the
WWE. You know
United
what I mean? You got a
States of
bad guy, you got a good
America,
guy. At the end of
Donald
they
J.
might portray as
Trump.
enemies on the stage or in that ring, but in the locker room, they're close friends. You know what I mean? Same here. It's the same with politics. They may not agree with each other, they might like each other on stage, but behind closed doors and everything, they're close friends. You guys are playing golf with each other and stuff, having brunch, meetings and stuff with each other. So like I say, and that's it's funny how the American people,
thank you very much, everybody.
Democrats and Republicans, they get more riled
thank
up
you very, very much.
on their positions in politics
Vice President Vance,
the
Speaker Johnson,
more
Senator
than
Thune,
people who
Chief
held
Justice
political
Roberts,
positions themselves.
justices
More,
of the
it's crazy.
United States
But
Supreme
at the end of
Court,
the day, we look like fools because,
President
again, there's
Clinton,
two wings
President Bush,
of the same bird.
President Obama,
And that bird had a
President
direction.
Biden,
That bird had a direction where
Vice
it's going to go.
President Harris,
But let me go ahead and listen
and
to
my
what
fellow citizens. The golden age of America begins right now.
Cricket's going to be going crazy right now.
From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before. I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country, sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals.
The people you're talking about is in that room right next to
mental
him,
institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly. and other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago, or more recently, Los Angeles, where we're watching fires still tragically burn. From weeks ago, without even a token of defense, they're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. But we can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change.
Everybody in
We have
that
a
room
public
is
health
fake.
system that does not deliver in times of
I'm gonna say
disaster,
fake,
yet
but
more
it's
money
like
is spent on it
they
than
do
any
not show their
country
hand
anywhere
amongst
in the
each other.
world.
You know what I mean?
And
Like
we have an education system that teaches our
it's like
children to be
they really have
ashamed
to
of
play a
themselves
certain
in
role
many
in front of
cases,
the
to hate
public
our
view.
country despite the love that we try so
Some people may not
desperately
even
to
like each other,
provide to them.
but you gotta act like they gotta act
All of
like it
this will
too.
change
You
starting
guys have to
today,
don't forget
and it
too
will
that this
change
man,
very quickly.
got his life. His life was at risk a few times.
My recent
Yeah.
election is a mandate to
Yeah, quite a few
completely and totally
assassination attempts.
reverse a
I think he even had
horrible
one recently, actually,
betrayal
that wasn't even mentioned
and all of
in the
these
mainstream media,
many betrayals
from my
that
understanding,
have taken place, and to
from what I
give
heard.
the people back their
I know
faith,
that.
their wealth,
But you two
their
know that.
democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over. Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty
Sorry about
of
that, guys.
America's government. Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history, and I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is why each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural, and very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states, and the popular vote, we won by millions of people. To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true. Thank you. Thank you. National unity is now returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country.
I gotta rewind.
We will
I
not forget
I
our
don't see Biden in
and
them
we
clap.
will not forget
Kamala.
our God. Can't do that. Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense. First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border.
Okay. Oh, there's the Bloods and Crips. You got red in
Illegal
the
entry will
it's the
immediately be
Republicans and the
halted,
Dems.
and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy.
Yeah.
I will end the practice of catch and release. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country. Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities. As Commander-in-Chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do. We will do it at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Next, I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices. The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill. There'll be so much money coming into that oil, though. That real talk.
America will be a manufacturing nation once again, And we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have, the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. We're going to use it. We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again, right to the top, and export American energy all over the world. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers.
Now, this is dangerous. Green New Deal. Woo-hoo. Woo. Boy. Interesting. It's going to be very interesting.
In other words, you'll be able to buy the car of your choice.
Because that whole particular...
We will build automobiles in America again at a rate that nobody could have dreamt possible just a few years ago. And thank you to the auto workers of our nation for your inspiring vote of confidence. We did tremendously with their vote. I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. For this purpose, we are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our treasury, coming from foreign sources. The American dream will soon be back and thriving like never before.
They're going to be
to
paying
restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government.
So we got
My
where all the money's
administration
at. This is where all the
will
money's at.
establish the brand new Department
They will be paying
of
us to
Government
make more,
Efficiency.
How you gonna make more money? Everybody got to invest in order to make some money, right? That's not what that's all tariffs was going to do. Anybody who also trying to make money here in the United
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict
you can't
free
understand that.
expression,
You don't understand the hustle.
I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring
This
back
isn't plain
free speech to
simplest way I
America.
can explain it.
Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents. Something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities. This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Man, he looks just like Donald Trump when he was a kid.
This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay.
Got something? Look at that. They're about to get paid. They're about to get broken off. Yeah, he like that.
And I will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty. It's going to end immediately. Our armed forces will be freed to focus on their sole mission, defeating America's enemies.
He's about to go down.
Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen.
A lot of people gonna be.
We will measure our success not only by the battles
those
we
about their
win,
money, about to make some
but
paper.
also by the wars that
They about
we
to make
end,
some
and
paper,
perhaps
dude.
most importantly, the wars we never get into.
I'm trying to put my kicker. I can back more kicker.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families.
Yeah, I've been taking care of this field for 20 years.
Here we go again.
And for 20 years, I've asked myself the same question.
Man, they're trying to get those ads in. They're trying to sneak those ads in.
America, and we will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs. President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent. He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal, which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after the United States. The United States, I mean, think of this, spent more money than ever spent on a project before and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama,
right.
And we're taking it back.
Right.
Above all, my message to Americans today is that it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization. So as we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights of victory and success. We will not be deterred. Together we will end the chronic disease epidemic and keep our children safe, healthy, and disease-free. The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
Elon.
Ambition is the lifeblood of a great nation. And right now, our nation is more ambitious than any other. There's no nation like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts. The call of the next great adventure resounds from within our souls. Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth. No one comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny, lifted billions from poverty, harnessed electricity, split the atom, launched mankind into the heavens, and put the universe of human knowledge into the palm of the human hand. If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken. I stand before you now as proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best. From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride. Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We are going to win like never before. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to bring it back and make it great again, greater than ever before. We will be a nation like no other, full of compassion, courage, and exceptionalism. Our power will stop all wars and bring a new spirit of unity to a world that has been angry, violent, and totally unpredictable. America will be respected again and admired again, including by people of religion, faith, and goodwill. We will be prosperous. We will be proud. We will be strong, and we will win like never before. We will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not be broken. and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely, we will live proudly, we will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, performing America the Beautiful, please welcome the Armed Forces Chorus and Carrie Underwood.
Do you know where you're at, Biden? This man, I think it's crazy too, how they allow him to finish his term as president when we was all aware that this dude has some cognitive issues. There's no, speculations and BS about that. We all knew that. We all knew, and yet they allowed him.
You know the words, help me out here. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties. Above the fruited plain, America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Fisher will now introduce the benediction clergy.
I now call on Rabbi Ari Berman, Pastor Lorenzo Sewell, and Reverend Frank Mund to provide prayers of benediction.
Let us pray. Almighty God, your prophet Jeremiah walked the streets of Jerusalem and blessed its inhabitants with the Hebrew words, Baruch HaGever Asher Yiftach BaHashem. Blessed is the one who trusts in God. Thousands of years later, this great nation, which adopted these words as its motto, "In God we trust," stands at a moment of historic opportunity. Americans are searching for meaning. Our merciful Father, help us rise to meet this moment. Bless President Donald J. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance with the strength and courage to choose the right and the good. Unite us around our foundational biblical values of life and liberty, of service and sacrifice, and especially of faith and morality, which George Washington called the indispensable supports of American prosperity. Guide our schools and college campuses, which have been experiencing such unrest, to inspire the next generation, to pair progress with purpose, knowledge with wisdom, and truth with virtue. Hear the cry of the hostages, both American and Israeli, whose pain our president so acutely feels. We are so thankful for the 3 young women who yesterday returned home, and pray that the next 4 years brings peace to Israel and throughout the Middle East. Almighty God, grant all Americans the opportunity to realize our shared dream of a life filled with peace and plenty, health and happiness, compassion and contribution. Stir within us the confidence to rise to this moment. For while we trust in God, God's trust is in us, the American people. America is called to greatness, to be a beacon of light and a mover of history. May our nation merit the fulfillment of Jeremiah's blessing, that like a tree planted by water, we shall not cease to bear fruit. May all of humanity experience your love and your blessing. May it be thy will, and let us say, Amen.
Let us pray for our 47th president. Heavenly Father, we're so grateful that you gave our 45th and now our 47th president a millimeter miracle. We are grateful that you are the one that have called him for such a time as this, that America would begin to dream again. We pray that we would fulfill the true meaning of our creed, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. We pray that you use our president, that we will live in a nation where we will not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we are so grateful today that you will use our 47th president so we would sing with new meaning, my country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and because America is called to be a great nation, we believe that you will make this come true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. from the curvaceous hilltops of California. But God, we're asking you not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and every molehill in Mississippi, from every state, every city, every village, and every hamlet. And when we let freedom ring, we will be able to speed up that day where all of your children, black men and white men, Protestant and Catholic, Jew and Gentile, will be able to sing in the meaning of that old Negro spiritual, free at last. Free at last. Thank you, God Almighty. We are free at last. If you believe where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Come on, put your hands together and give your great God great glory.
Almighty and eternal God, we gather here today in reverence, joined in our shared hopes and dreams for our beloved nation. In this sacred moment of the inauguration of President Donald J. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, we turn our hearts to you, seeking your divine assistance and abundant blessings upon this pivotal moment in history. We come before you with profound gratitude for the many gifts you have bestowed upon our land. Thank you for the freedoms we cherish, for the strength of our communities, and for the resilience of our spirit. As our President and Vice President embrace their newly appointed roles, we humbly implore that your everlasting love and wisdom will envelop them. Grant them the clarity of mind to navigate the challenges that lie ahead, and the compassion to serve all citizens with fairness and integrity. May their hearts be filled with a giving spirit and sincere understanding for those whom they represent. May they be beacons of hope in times of uncertainty and prophetic voices in defending the dignity of all created life. We pray for a spirit of collaboration to flourish in our government and across our nation, fostering an environment where dialogue and heartfelt listening will prevail over division or discord. May each decision made by our President and Vice President reflect the values of justice and peace. As we embark on this new chapter, we also seek your comfort, O God, for those who feel lost or disheartened. In this time of transition, may your light shine upon them, reaffirming their belief in a brighter tomorrow. May we all strive to lift one another, supporting our fellow citizens with kindness and empathy, recognizing that together we can overcome any adversity. Grant us the strength to endure, the courage to face our fears, and the clarity to see the light that remains, even when clouds of uncertainty may gather. Inspire our new leaders to be champions for the vulnerable and advocates for those whose voices are often silenced. May they pursue policies that promote the well-being of all, seeking to build bridges that will foster unity and belonging. As we stand witness to this inauguration, we hold fast to our faith in the goodness of each of us and the possibility of change. We trust that with your guidance, O God, our nation can move forward to a future filled with promise, prosperity, and understanding. And finally, we lift our hearts in gratitude for the beloved parents of President Trump. Without Mary and Fred Trump, this day would never be the miracle that has just begun. From their place in heaven, May they shield their son from all harm by their loving protection, and give him the strength to guide our nation along the path that will make America great again. Let us go forth now with these words of President Trump's emblazoned on our hearts. As long as we have pride in our beliefs, courage in our convictions, and faith in our God, then we will not fail. We stand tall, we stand proud, because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God, and to God alone. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain at your seats while the President and official party depart the platform.
And we see President Trump along with First Lady Melania Trump exiting as the inauguration ceremony concludes inside the Capitol Rotunda. We see former President Biden and former First Lady Jill Biden right there behind the new couple, the new president, the new First Lady. Joining me to continue our coverage is my colleague Andrew Kraft, and we have been witnessing history in the making, Andrew, as Donald J. Trump, now the 47th president of the United States, the second time in history that a president has a second term that's non-consecutive. And we were seeing as well the political dynamic in play in real time inside this condensed area. I'd love to hear your thoughts as we continue to see everyone standing as we are now awaiting the departure ceremony for former President Biden and former Vice President Harris.
Yes, Stephanie, good to be with you. Good to be with everyone watching. Well, that is how we do it here in the United States. The peaceful transition of power. That is what we all have just watched, all have just observed here. And the political dynamics in play were palpable. Yes, this is a historic moment. And we should talk about some of the news that was made in the speech that President Trump now delivered. It lasted 30 minutes on the dot. His first inaugural was 17 minutes, so going a little longer. And this was a victory lap for President Trump there, delivering his remarks in a stinging rhetorical rebuke to the previous administration seated just behind him in President Biden and former Vice President Kamala Harris. And I just have to note that there because the tension on their faces, at times, some of the smirking that was going on by former President Biden and former Vice President Harris was so obvious, having to listen to now President Trump deliver a litany of his perceived failures of the last 4 years. He said this: America's decline is over. And so I just thought the kind of snapshot of that moment, the juxtaposition of that moment of the rhetoric delivered by Trump, the body language of Biden and Harris, was just something we had to acknowledge. And I think a lot of people did acknowledge that. But some news was made, like I said, Stephanie, in that speech. This was somewhat of a campaign rally speech dressed up as an inaugural address. You heard there, if you watched the campaign last year and so many of his rally speeches, that he said what he was going to do. He said those campaign promises will become reality, and 2 national emergencies were declared, one there on the southern border, also one having to do with our energy independence as well. So it's not every day that in an inaugural address, the president declares 2, let alone 1, national disaster emergencies. He said he's shutting down the southern border completely. He's designating the Mexican drug cartels, he said, as foreign terror organizations. So this was a speech replete with news for those of us who cover the news. And I just thought it was really, really interesting. He started this off by saying the scales of justice will be rebalanced. He brought that up multiple times, an allusion to the lawfare that has been waged against him in the form of these 4 criminal indictments he faced in 4 separate jurisdictions. He noted there the alleged weaponization of the Department of Justice. And then he made it an edict in that speech that the national government, the U.S. government, will only recognize 2 genders, male and female. Of course, transgender issues were front and center during the campaign election season here. So I just thought those were some of the notes that I jotted down during this speech. It was full of news, but it was also Trump making good, or at least saying he will make good, on those campaign promises he made at rally speech after rally speech after rally speech.
Yes, and it's interesting to note, Andrew, that what he was sharing is news, but not surprising news. He has been making these promises to the American public, time and time again. And so, something that I wrote down myself was, quote, "America's decline is over." And you're right, it did sound like one of those campaign rallies that he has held so many times, outlining the promises that he intends to keep for the American people. In fact, and we've been talking about this, is signing the executive orders in just a matter of hours, 200 right now or so. It's going to be a very busy day, but absolutely interesting to see all of that right here as we continue to take a live look here inside the Capitol Rotunda as people are now exiting. And so we also see the outside, as well as we do know that there is going to be a farewell ceremony for Biden and Harris, now the former president and former vice president. But, you were mentioning the social dynamics.
Phoenix, it's time for the overstocked inventory blowout sale on Camelback Road. This Martin Luther King Jr. Day weekend only. 10 dealerships, 1,000 pre-owned cars and trucks from under $10,000. Got a trade? Get a minimum $3,000. Visit CamelbackTentSale.com. Price plus tax, tag, title, and $5.99 doc fee. 5 or more available. Based on Kelley Blue Book trade-in value, a fair condition with 10,000 miles per year. Deduction of 15 cents per excess mile. Deductions will apply for damage, reconditioning, excessive wear and tear, and above average mileage. Offers expire January 2025.
That we were seeing. We were also, noticing who is standing and who is not standing for the standing ovations as President Trump was outlining his vision for the next 4 years. So something, no doubt, that we are going to be discussing in the coming hours and in the coming days, as it does look like this is going to be at least the very start of the farewell ceremony right here. This is the departure ceremony for former President Biden and Vice President Harris. And so we're going to listen in and see what we can hear. we are watching Marine One depart from the U.S. Capitol as former President Biden and former First Lady Jill Biden embarked on that next journey. And in fact, I did want to share this live look with you. This is Air Force One right here, there on the tarmac. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump waving goodbye alongside Vice President Vance and Yusha Vance right there. And now a new era is ushered in to Capitol Hill, to Washington, D.C. This is a live look right here at Emancipation Hall, and this is where President Trump is expected to speak to this overflow crowd. Of course, hundreds of thousands of people coming to Washington, D.C. to witness history being made, the frigid temperatures forcing the plan to change. The swearing-in ceremony held inside the Capitol Rotunda, where just about 600 or so people were able to get inside. This is the overflow area inside the Capitol. This is Emancipation Hall, and the hundreds of people attending were able to witness the inauguration on a live video screen. We are expecting President Trump to address this crowd momentarily. As you can see, the podium with the presidential seal right there. And it's going to be a very busy day, Andrew, as after this, President Trump will be heading to the signing room for a ceremony there.
Yeah, Stephanie, we're about to hear President Trump there. A massive overflow crowd. That's in the Capitol Visitors Center there. That's where you go in when you're getting a tour of the U.S. Capitol. And so you see some of these members that we have seen throughout the course of the day. And so this is the reality of why you could not have the inauguration outside. They're trying to jam-pack as many people in as possible. You see there Speaker Johnson taking the dais. And I just wanted to note, too, that the Bidens, the Harrises there, now departing Washington. The Bidens are headed to California for somewhat of a brief respite. And this is day one, hour one of the Trump administration, part two, if you will. And so he went over a number of executive actions he plans on taking today. And so we could see him signing some of those executive orders a little bit later on today, having to do with the environment, with the border, with energy independence, and the like here.
And as you said, this is hour one. This is going to be a very busy day as we continue our extended coverage here on Live Now from Fox, going from event to event as we are anticipating President Trump to be speaking to this overflow crowd in Emancipation Hall. And I have to wonder, Andrew, the tone, you know, of course, delivering the inaugural address and now speaking to the crowd that is here in that overflow room. I'm interested in seeing, you know, his message, his tone. Is it going to be a little more conversational, more fiery? You know, we're just waiting in anticipation. It does look like perhaps there might be someone coming up to the podium, so I did want to raise the audio.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here as witnesses to President Trump's triumphant return to the White House. Right now, already this morning, you can feel it around the country. We certainly felt it here in the city. America is coming together and roaring back again, and it begins today, as the president just told us. I know we'd all rather be gathered together on the National Mall with hundreds of thousands of our closest friends, but our disappointment is well overcome with our excitement for the future that we feel today. We have the chance to make the next 4 years the most consequential period in our nation's history. And as Speaker of the House, it is my great pleasure, my great honor, to introduce to you the man who will lead us to this new golden age, the decisive winner of the Electoral College and the popular vote, the 45th and the 47th, and the greatest president of our lifetimes, Donald J. Trump.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. And was that a hell of a speech or what? That was, man. That was a good way to start it off. You know, I didn't know exactly what the president would put in that speech, and I hoped to myself that he wasn't going to hold back, and sir, you didn't hold back. That was a hell of a way to start the next 4 years. But I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, and I know I speak for the president and for all of us, thank you, thank you, thank you for making this possible. We love you. We wouldn't be here without you, and we're going to make America great again together for the next 4 years. And the last thing I'll say is, you know, having stood outside for about 5 minutes to wave goodbye to the Bidens, thank God we moved that thing indoors, because it was a beautiful ceremony and it was cold as hell outside. So, sir, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
No, he's right. I said, oh, look at this beautiful sunny day. We blew it, and then I went outside and we were freezing. You would have been very unhappy. The sun was very deceptive, I will tell you. It is cold out. And I'm sort of saying, you know, that was so beautiful today. Maybe they should do it there every 4 years. Does that make sense? I don't know. Because, you know, the outdoor thing is really good, but it gets a little cold around this time of the year, as some people have noticed. And a lot of times they suffer through it. There was no suffering in that room. It was 72 degrees. It was perfect with the best acoustics I think I've ever heard in a room. This is not so bad either. But I just want to say, you're a younger, far more beautiful audience that I just spoke to. And I want to keep it off the record. I want to keep that off the record. Because I don't want to have all those big shots up there. I don't want to think you're more powerful than them, you look better than them, and I love you. Now, we just had a great time. We just had a great day. This was amazing. You know, when you think we took a journey, I mentioned in the speech, a lot of people said that was not a journey that was possible, and it was indeed possible. I didn't really know too much about what they were saying when they said that, but a lot of people felt it, and we hooked up with J.D. very early. I watched J.D. over a period of time. I endorsed him in Ohio. He was a great senator, and very, very smart. The only one smarter than him was his wife. That was, I would have chosen her, but somehow the line of succession didn't work that way, right? But now she's great, and he's great. This is a great, beautiful couple, and unbelievable career. I just said to him, you are very upwardly mobile, because he hasn't been doing it that long, but he picked it up so quickly. Remember, the first week was a little bit like the fake news was hitting him really hard. And I said, ooh, this may be tough, but after that, it was smooth sailing for him. He took on everybody. He took on the meanest. I don't want to use the word corrupt because we're into a new system, so let's wait till the corruption begins, because it will. But he took on some pretty mean people, and he handled it well. I want to also congratulate Mike Johnson for the job that he's doing. Steve, we gave him a majority of almost nothing, and then I said, to make it tougher on him, let me take 2 or 3 of the people, right? I said, he'll only have to suffer with that for about 3 months. How are they doing, by the way? Are they? Is that moving along?
Totally unified.
I said, do you mind if I take this one, that one, and a couple of others? He didn't mind. He can handle it. No, he's a man that's liked by everybody. I've never met a man like this. You've got how many is it, 219 or 220 or something? 220. And of the 220, 219 really like him. I noticed he got 1 negative vote once about 2 weeks ago. But I think even 220 like him, if you want to know the truth. And that's very unusual. I know a lot of nice guys in Congress, and they have 35 people that hate him. So if you have 35 people that hate you and you only have 1 or 2 or 3 votes, you'll have 5, I think. But that's going to be like, you know, the good news is when we get to that 5 number, it's going to feel like a massive majority. You could be really nasty to a couple of them at least, yeah? So it's going to feel like hitting your head on the wall and stopping. It feels so good to stop. But he's done a fantastic job. And Steve Scalise is, he's our hero because, you know, I was with him. You talk about being shot. I was with him. He got some bad ones, and his incredible wife, and she really loves him. You know, you never know about that. I've been with other people. They were doing poorly, and the wife is like looking at a watch. She can't get out of the hospital fast enough. How's he doing? Oh, I don't know. He's all right. That woman was a mess. She was crying and crying. No, they're going to take him. They're going to take him. I told Steve when he finally woke up, it was a while too. The doctor told me it was the most blood they've ever transfused in any patient. They've never done anything like it. And here he is, the picture of strength, right? And he's been a great friend of mine, right? With a family, because of a family. And what a job you did. It worked out pretty much better than we even thought, right? And I did have a couple of things, you know, to say that were extremely controversial. And between JD and Melania and anybody else that heard, please, sir, it's such a beautiful unifying speech. Please, sir, don't say these things. I said, I'm telling you, it's going to play great. They say, you're right. For this group of people, it's going to play great. You're the only ones I hurt by not, oh, but we had some beauties, didn't we, Melania? She said, sir, calls me sir when she's angry. No, I'm only kidding. I better say I'm only kidding, or the press is going to pick that one up loud and clear. No, but she said, no, I think it would be terrible. It's such a nice speech. I think it's, you know, it all depends on your delivery. How was the delivery? Was it good? But she said it's such a beautiful speech. You can't put things in there that you were going to put in. And I was going to talk about the J6 hostages, but you'll be happy because, you know, it's action, not words that count. And you're going to see a lot of action on the J6 hostages. See a lot of action. And I was going to talk about the things that Joe did today with the pardons of people that were very, very guilty of very bad crimes, like the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs, where they literally, I mean, what they did is they destroyed and deleted all of the information, all of the hearings, practically not a thing left. They deleted all the information on Nancy Pelosi having turned down the offer of 10,000 soldiers. You wouldn't have needed 10,000. You could have had 500, and it would have stopped. Because we may have had 1 million people that day, the people that were there. You don't see any photographs, but we have a lot of great photos. But you don't see those photographs. They don't put them in. They show the people at the Capitol. But I was talking about that. I was going to talk about that. They said, please don't bring that up right now. You can bring it up tomorrow. I said, how about now in front of the I'll bring it up right now. You know, this little time delay is good because we're getting great reviews on the speech. Now watch. They'll take the speech and say, I didn't like it because he left there and he's talked to people. But we're giving you a little more information than we gave upstairs. But no, they pardoned a lot of people. They pardoned, before we even get to today, they pardoned, 33 murderers, absolute murderers, the worst murderers. You know, when you get the death sentence in the United States, you have to be bad, because they don't give it much. And he pardoned almost everybody having a death sentence. And if you went through the crimes that were committed, you wouldn't even believe them. The level of violence, the people that were killed, the innocence of people that were killed, and children killed by these people. And he pardoned them for whatever reason. He spared them, and but they didn't spare the people that they killed. And you know, who knows what happens in the future. It's one of the worst, because a lot of times they let them out early after that. You know, they say you're going to be in for life, but then all of a sudden they get let out for good behavior, and then they go on a rampage. You know, it's one of those little things, right? But I was going to talk about that. But I was really going to talk about the level of, you know, what's going on. Why are we doing this? Why are we trying to help a guy like Milley? Why are we doing Milley? He was pardoned. What he said, terrible what he said. Why are we helping some of the people? Why are we helping Liz Cheney? I mean, Liz Cheney is a disaster. She's a crying lunatic and crying crying Adam Kinzinger. He's a super crier. I never saw the guy not crying. He's always crying. I looked at him. I remember years ago he was actually on my side. And then one day, you know, when you don't want to kill people in wars, they turn against you. Liz Cheney hated the concept of not going to war with everybody. Let's kill everybody. Let's spend a lot of money on military equipment, you know, where her father works, right? And but what she did was incredible. Think of it. They destroyed and deleted all of that information that went on for almost 2 years against Trump. And the reason they did, because it was all false. Like the person that said, I tried to strangle a Secret Service agent. That's one of the toughest human beings I think I've ever seen. I actually had a friend saying, please don't change that, sir. You are the coolest sucker in history. Remember, she said, I put my hands around his neck because he wouldn't go to the Capitol. Made up fiction. And I was rebuffed. And the guy on the right is a massive weightlifter, probably stronger than me. Do you think he's stronger than me, honey? You know who I'm talking. Possibly stronger than me. Slightly younger than me, like, I won't say how many years because I don't want to talk about that, but a lot of years. But I had a friend that said, why are you disputing that story? That's the coolest story I've ever heard. That I would attack a karate champion, get slightly rebuffed, and then throw my arms around a guy with a neck about this big. Even though there are bars, you know, there are bars, you can't really do that anyway. So I wanted to talk about that. But all of that stuff got deleted. And the reason it got deleted is they were all caught in lies. You know, Secret Service testified, and they said it didn't happen. Actually, the two guys were very embarrassed. They're suffering because their friends are saying, did Trump really do that to you? But they gained a whole new respect for me. But it was just make-believe stuff, and there were a lot of make-believe stories made up. So rather than suffer the wrath, like the story with Nancy Pelosi, I offered her 10,000 soldiers. She knows it. She admitted it on tape that her daughter made. She's a videographer or whatever you call her, which I'm glad she is. Oh, she can't be in good stead with Nancy. But Nancy said it was my responsibility as she's leaving the Capitol. She said it was, and it was. She's in charge of security at the Capitol. But I offered them up to 10,000 soldiers, even more. One time I said more, as many as you need. But you needed 400 or 500. If 4 or 5, you 10,000, that would be more than the number of people there by lot. But we offered her 10,000. Think of it, 10,000 soldiers. In other words, J6 wouldn't be J6. There would have been no J6. But she rebuffed them. She didn't like it. No, she didn't like it. Maybe she wanted that to happen. But she's guilty as hell. And now we would have to go through the process because they destroyed all evidence. They deleted everything. There's virtually nothing left. The other fake story and so many other fake stories. And many people came out on our side. And those people now would got to find them. There's nothing left. So that's a criminal offense. If that were a civil case, it would be a criminal offense. If that happened civilly where you did that, it would be a criminal offense. So I decided I'm not going to make this speech complicated. I'm going to make it beautiful. I'm going to make it a unifying speech. And then when they said we have a group of people that are serious Trump fans, I said, this is the time to tell those stories. He knows. So anyway, but seriously, I'd like to, I think it was a tremendous success. I think we're very lucky we put it inside because it is really cold. We just went to the helicopter out of respect. It's something that's taken place for a long time. I guess it's as old as helicopters. You used to get into a stagecoach, now you get into a helicopter. Times change. But it's pretty old custom. And it's a beautiful custom, actually. It's a beautiful custom. I wish we could have had a better relationship. I wish we could have had a better relationship between Republicans and Democrats. I was with Senator Schumer. I said, Chuck, I think it's time we all start getting along a little bit because it doesn't make sense. I mean, we literally never get a Democrat vote. They never get a Republican vote, almost. And although there is a bill coming up very shortly that we have a lot of Democrat votes, right? That's going to be a very a beautiful bill. We're going to have a deciding, I would say, within a week or so, I think. And it's going to be a very good bill. You all know what I'm talking about. So I just want to thank you all for being here. You have been our fans from day one. All these people all over. You've been our fans. This has been there's never been anything like it. There's never been anything like it. This has been a movement like no movement ever in history for probably any country, let alone this country. You know, if somebody's running for president, and if they go out and they announce they're going to Arizona, they're going to Nevada, they're going to someplace, if you have 200 or 300 people, that would be standard. Ronald Reagan would go out. I mean, outside of the last couple of days where people get a little excited, but even then you have a couple of thousand people. But if you're going to go someplace, any place, any one of the swing states, any one of the other states, I mean, how about the non-swing states? We won Alabama by 48 points. We won Tennessee by massive numbers. Wyoming, we won by numbers that are, nobody's ever seen numbers like that. And, you know, places like California, we did great, but when they send out like 38 million ballots, and nobody knows where the hell they're sending them, and then they come pouring back, the whole thing. You know, they passed a law in California that if you work in an election bureau, and if you so much as ask for a voter ID, if you say, sir, ma'am, could I please look at your voter ID? They have the right to put you in jail. You're a criminal. Can you believe that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's only one reason that happens. They want to cheat. So they had it where voter ID wasn't accepted. But now if you even ask for it, this is seriously a bill that was just signed, passed in their legislature, and it was signed. And I think when we get things cleaned up and we get back to a little bit of normalcy, I'm going to ask the speaker to really get involved, because I think we would have won the state of California, because, you know, if you look at my numbers with Hispanic, we're at 56%. And we won the Texas border that had never been won. As the governor said, he's doing a good job, the governor, by the way, of Texas. But as the governor said...
But yet didn't get no votes in California. That doesn't look right. It really don't.
Did I get lucky? Supposing I said, you know, he's not here, but the governor of Texas has done a terrible job. Wow, look at you. You mean we couldn't get you up in the front row? I tell you. Supposing I said, JD, the governor of Texas, he's not doing his job. You heard what I said. See, I didn't know you were there. I said he's doing a great job. He's doing a phenomenal job. But now you're going to have a partner that's going to work with you, because you didn't have, not only didn't he have a partner, he had people selling the wall, right? We have a fence structure that we worked on, the governor worked on with me. And I didn't love it, to be honest with you. I wanted a nice precast concrete, you know, 40, 50 feet high, like a beautiful, could have been a T-shape, Y-shape. I love construction. I wanted that sucker to go up maybe 50, 60 feet. It would have looked beautiful, a nice Y shape. And they said, the problem is, sir, they climbed that like a rabbit. I said, what do you mean? No way. And they brought some of these guys out. They climbed it like... And the other thing is you hit it with acid and the thing will disintegrate. You know, they have things for concrete. So they needed very hardened steel, very special steel. And then they needed 7,000-pound concrete inside that steel, inside that steel. And then they have a rebar that's the toughest steel made. Very hard to cut. So this is why very little is cut. I mean, it's right. And then they put a anti-climb panel on top. I hated it. I said, it's so unattractive. And I said, why would that work? I don't believe it works. And I went to watch. The Border Patrol gave a display. We had actually two sets of climbers. The guys that climb up walls with...
If a man really hated ads, here's what he would do. Day one, he would install Pi on his computer without spending...
Or we have Mount Everest type climbers. And honestly, the drug guys were much better. I couldn't believe it. The drug guys blew them away, right? But it's true, the anti-climb panel, they couldn't get around it. They just couldn't. When you didn't have it. So sometimes you sacrifice beauty for efficiency. And we did. So we built this wall, and we built over 500 miles of wall. That's why we had such good numbers. The famous chart that came down, very thankfully, the chart that came down on my right, Governor, had I not looked over there, I'm not speaking right now. You might be speaking here. You want to know the truth? You, JD, you've got a lot of great people in this party, but I got very lucky, but we had the best numbers we've ever had. But I bought, you know what happens is when you fill it up, it's like water. You fill it up. Now we have 571 miles of wall. And they would always say, you know, when we renovated a wall, so there'd be like a piece of plywood sitting there for 60 years, or a 2x4 sitting for 60 years on the ground and rotting. Because, you know, and they'll say, you didn't build a new wall. Here we're building 50 feet up in the air, 30 feet sections, 50-foot sections, all steel, all concrete, all everything. And all, by the way, they don't even want me to say this, but what the hell, it doesn't take that long time. They're all wired for all of the equipment. We put wires in everything so they can easily wire for all the different types of equipment. And if there's a doubt, we have to wire. Whenever we just look, you just find the wires all over the place up top, so we can just hook it up. We don't have to have wires on the outside, which wouldn't do too well, right? So anyway, so we built an extra 200 miles of wall, and the governor wanted to buy it. He tried to buy it, and they wouldn't sell it to him. He wanted to put it up himself. Could have been done in 3 to 4 weeks, 200 more miles, because when you do it, now they just keep going further out, further out, further out, getting around. So we did an extra 200 miles, and it was all bought. And they announced that they're not going to put it up. And that's when I realized they wanted open borders, and that's when I realized that people are going to come pouring through the wall like nobody's ever seen before. But you've seen it. A lot of you are here because of that. I made it my #1 issue. They all said inflation was the #1 issue. I said I disagree. I think people coming into our country from prisons and from mental institutions is a bigger issue for the people that I know.
America,
and I made it my #1. I talked about inflation too, but you know, how many times can you say that an apple is doubled in cost?
Wherever we say America is stolen land,
you hit it hard, but then I go back to the fact that we don't want criminals coming into our country. We don't want the jails of every country in the world virtually
no different than
being deposited into the United States. And that man had to suffer with
the enemy invaded
and he did an unbelievable
country
job.
or a
He
village.
was a very popular governor, but now he's like an unbeatable governor because of your border policies. He was fantastic. And he really was. Governor Abbott he's a great man, great leader. And
Brian complain about it, but let's be honest though.
Did you do it? You didn't
Brian now, but it'd be much more worse.
Do the right thing, but I'll tell you, it sure as hell worked for politics too. It's self-preservation. But no, because the people are demanding it. The people of Texas are demanding it. The people are demanding it all over. So anyway, so we built it, and they wouldn't let us use it. They wouldn't let the governor use it, and other governors they wouldn't let him use it. But he was the leader of the pack and did a great job. And then we heard about a month ago that not only wouldn't they let it use it, they were selling it. They were going to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar. Now
they don't play that out
5
there.
5 cents on the dollar then, but today
go to China with
more than twice as much to build because we bought it like 6 years ago, and it was just sitting on the ground. And that does not do well for the whole thing. But it was just sitting on the ground, and I heard about it, and I called the governor, and I called a lot of people, your attorney general, and here's the story. They were going to buy it, and these are great business people. They were going to buy it for 5 cents on the dollar or less, and they were calling us up, we'll sell it to you for 200 cents on the dollar. In other words, it will cost you twice as much, so it's 200 cents on the dollar. I said, can somebody explain that to a judge? I mean, how corrupt is that? You'd think they'd say, maybe we'll sell it to you for 20 cents, 30 cents, but not 200 cents. So they were going to buy something for 5 cents, and they were going to sell it to us for a fortune. They were going to make it would be, they'd have it down that in Fortune magazine, they'd put it of the deal of the year, okay? You buy something like that. But it was so corrupt and so horrible. And when we told that to the administration, they didn't care. They just kept going forward. They couldn't care less.
Right.
And they kept going forward. They knew that they were trying to sell it back to us. They would have sold it back to us. You would have ended up buying it. You would have paid probably 50, 60 cents. Who knows? But they were going to use it for scrap metal, but then they made a much better deal. They could just buy it and sell it to us for 15, 20 times what they paid. 20 times, think of it, like 20 times what they paid. And we wouldn't let it happen. And the governor with his attorney general, Ken Paxton, they made a fantastic, they're a good lawyer. He's pushed around pretty good by people, right? I said, you got a great attorney general. They should leave him alone. He was with me. But Ken and the governor went to court, and a judge actually became incensed and actually called for an investigation. How could a thing like this happen? So he stopped it. So we're waiting to put that wall up. And now that you have a new president, that wall will go up so fast. The governor will complain, sir. This is Greg Abbott, sir. Please, the wall is going up too fast. Please don't do that. You know the story about winning. No, we're going to win too much. We're winning too much. Please, let's stop. People always love that one. We'll do this with the wall. Governor Abbott calls, sir, the wall is going up too fast. We can't take it. We just can't take it. No. I think you'll be very happy if the wall goes up too fast, right? But we'll get that done, and we'll work with you on that. But it was a great decision by a great Texas judge, right? And it was beautiful, beautiful to watch. We stopped them right in their track. I mean, they were literally loading this stuff onto trucks. It was terrible. Honestly, it was terrible. And he wouldn't take it. So I'm so glad I mentioned that they have a really good governor in Texas. And I swear, I didn't know he was here. I swear to you, it sounds like a setup. I didn't know you would end. Did I get lucky? I said the right thing. Because there have been moments when I wasn't so happy with him, you know? But not too many, I can tell you that. So anyway, it's good to see you too, Governor. Great. But I just want to thank everybody. You've been incredible. I recognize so many of you. It's so crazy. But this has been a long journey. This was a journey that started in 2015, probably started 20 years before that. People used to say, you're going to run for president? You're going to run? And I always said, no, I don't want. And then one day I said, let's give it a shot. And what I talked about then was the border, too. I think it probably was the #1 issue for me. Back in 2015, 2016, I talked about the border. And now I talked about the border, but this border is much worse. We fixed the border. It was totally fixed. There was nothing to talk about. 2020, by the way, that election was totally rigged, but that's okay. It was a rigged election. You know the only thing good about it? It showed how bad they are, showed how incompetent, and frankly, historically, this is a much bigger event. If that would have gone like it should have, the bad thing about it is some bad things happened, like a lot of people in our country that wouldn't be in our country right now. So you know that's the bad part. But I will say that it started in 2015, and right from the beginning, we went to the top. Day one, they announced Trump, and Trump went to #1 and stayed there for the whole primary. And then we took on Hillary. She didn't look too happy today. We took on Hillary, a very nice person, but we took on Hillary and we defeated Hillary, and then we did much better the second time in 2020. You know, we got millions more votes. We got millions, like 10, 12 million more votes than we did the first time. No president has ever gotten that many more votes. I got like 9 million more than anybody else had ever gotten, and they said we lost. And because of that, I said to Melania, what do you think? And she said, you want to do this again? And had we lost, and had I thought we lost, I wouldn't do it again, because that's like the ultimate poll, right? But I knew how well we did, and this time we made it too big to rig. It was so big. They tried like hell.
Even
In the butt.
on the Air Force One. Deuces.
They tried to do it.
Get your old ass up out of here.
902, they gave up. Last time they did bad things. This time they just said,
your elder diaper.
I don't know if you saw, Mr. Speaker, in Washington, they had placards. They were all set to march. They thought it'd be closer. A gentleman asked me, a very respected gentleman asked me yesterday, how come the polls were so wrong? They showed you winning, but not in a landslide. I said, because people that are true Trumpers are so angry at the whole polling system and at the writers, the fake news, that they don't want to talk to anybody. So when you call somebody from Trump, who are you voting for? They say, it's none of your business. I'm not telling you. And that was probably 40% of the people they called. So they would discard that one, and they didn't show that. And then when the election happened, you know, the vote came, and it was much different, much higher than we're going to win, but they really thought, they couldn't believe the one man said, I mean, it was so much higher. We won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote by millions of votes, which is hard for a Republican. I'll tell you who came through. The unions came through. The auto workers were great. The Teamsters were great. The firemen were great. I think almost every union was great. The only one that weren't great, although Sean was great, and the Teamsters, Sean O'Brien, the head of the Teamsters, was fantastic. But generally speaking, the head of the union was against Trump, but the union would be with us for like 80–85%. Look what we did with the auto workers in Michigan. Look what we did with the Teamsters. The Teamsters were unbelievable. They were a solid Democrat vote, and they voted for Trump. So we had a great experience. This has been, now we have to go to work and get it done, because we have to do something that's going to be great. We're going to turn our country around, and we're going to turn it around fast. And I think this was a better speech than the one I made upstairs, okay? I think this was better, JD. I think this was much better, and I got to see my friend. So, Governor, take care of yourself. You call me, we'll start working. You know what that means with him. He's going to be calling me tomorrow morning at about 6. And I said, how about next week? You call me and we're going to get it started real fast. We'll really help you a lot. You've done a fantastic job protecting something which is, it's not supposed to be for the states. And amazing job you've done. Thank you very much. And I want to thank everybody. And I have a First Lady who's been incredible. She's been incredible. I shouldn't say this. I'm going to get hell when I say this, but her feet are absolutely aching. You know, those heels. And we thought we were leaving. We were going home. Sir, would you be able to go down and say hello to some of your other fans that are here? I said, oh, I didn't know that. Wow. Did you get to see pretty clearly the picture, I hope? Good. That's good. But because you wouldn't want to make the same speech again, right? But she said, darling, I love you so much, but my feet are killing me. I said, honey, let me just see how far it is. I asked the person. Oh, not that long, maybe 400 or 500 yards. That's 5 football fields. I said, can you make it? She said, we're going to make it no matter what. We're going to make it because we have to go. Right? Right?
You didn't say that.
And then we went out to the helicopter.
You probably did.
Prior to this, and said goodbye.
Oh, no.
It's a custom, and the wind is blowing like crazy. And with the hat that she's wearing, she almost blew away. We almost lost off her. She was being elevated off the ground. She almost blew away. No, so we all appreciate it because she's been a great First Lady. A beautiful and a great
She's not actually not bad looking.
And they love our First
For her
Lady.
age, she's not bad looking
You know,
at all.
JD, whenever I make a speech, I see hundreds of times, we love our First Lady, we love, and they do, and they should. She's great. So I just want to thank you very much. I just want to thank everybody. And I felt that, I said to JD, should we give him the A treatment, the B treatment, the C, the D, or the F? You know what the F is? Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye. I gave you the A+ treatment. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Governor. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Let's go.
And that was President Trump speaking to the overflow crowd in Emancipation Hall, saying that he felt like the speech that he just delivered was better than his inauguration address. And so we see him shaking hands with a number of lawmakers right there. What is up next is that he will be heading to the signing room, and that is where we are expecting another ceremony to get underway. We are continuing our live coverage here on Live Now from Fox of Inauguration Day 2025. I'm Stephanie Quinu, and on behalf of myself and my colleague Andrew Kraft, we appreciate you continuing to watch this truly historic day as Donald J. Trump now the 47th president of the United States, just the second president to be elected in non-consecutive years. Of course, the first time 8 years ago when he was first sworn in as the 45th president. So what is happening now? Many more events. Soon, President Trump will be heading to the signing room for the signing room ceremony. And for that, my colleague Michael Page will be joining you momentarily, continuing our extended coverage for the next many hours as we do look ahead to the coming days as we now have a new president of the United States.
All right. Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I'm gonna do another stream shortly. I gotta get some food in my system. Yeah, I was good. I was gone for a good portion of this stream. Sorry for that. I had to do some things. I just didn't want to disconnect from the stream just yet. But yeah, so there we have it. He's officially in office. We're about to start seeing some changes start occurring. This is, I swear, dude. Like, I just hope he does everything they say he's gonna do. He won because I'm keeping it buck. It was just purely common sense when a lot of this stuff, like when it come down to abortion laws, when it came down to, gender identity, who can play in certain sports and what they're teaching children in school. And that's funny. It doesn't make no sense why you would teach children that as well when they still don't know who they are. They still trying to figure them out, and then immediately you throw a monkey wrench in that and interfere with that, and just by letting them know that you can be whatever gender you wants to. Like, I think this, you got to be out of pocket to tell somebody else's child that. Honestly, that's completely out of pocket. But what's another thing I had that I want to say too? Oh, about the borders and everything like that. I touched on it earlier. Is that I think it's really stupid that the fact that we say that this is stolen land. Like, I think it's dumb for the most part. It's a dumb argument. We like to pick and choose history, and then we just stop right there. And then if people really felt the way that, and it's funny because people felt the way that they really, they believe they really felt about this country, about this nation in regards of the treatment and in regards of, who's president, in regards of, the history, then why just leave? You know what I mean? Like, why would, like, that's like, for example, that's like you are in an abusive relationship with a person, and that person talks down on you, belittle you, steal from you, beat you, you know what I mean? And you continue to stay there and be abused. That don't make any sense. Why go through that if you feel like that? You know what I mean? But it says a lot it says a lot that you still stick around. So at that point, say for example, if it is happening, you are going through those things, but you still stick around, you still stay around and continue to let it happen to you. Whose fault is it? Whose fault is it really that you're going through what you're going through at that point? Because you're the one that decides to make those choices to be abused. I guess people enjoy to be professional victims. I guess I know it's a lot of people who actually voted for Donald Trump. They don't really have this victim mentality. A lot of black folks don't have a lot of these victim mentalities. Don't get me wrong, there is some few in there as well. Still, you know what I mean? Yeah, there's some few as well. Especially everything that he been going through and experiencing as well. As I heard, they hold on to that victim as well at the same time. we had to put the facts on the table on how that even came about in the first place. Let's keep it straight factual. You know, but the best thing about Donald Trump the best thing I'll say about Donald Trump and the people that's in the conservatives genre of his own is that they don't really hold on to that. Even something that's happening to them, being threatened or whatever they're going through, they don't hold on to being a victim. They don't hold on to it. They just they acknowledge it, but they keep going. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the broadcast right now. If you came by to check out my video, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm at the beginning phase right now. I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to use the software. I'm still trying to find myself as well when it comes down to this streaming on YouTube live. And also too, I want to clarify some things as well. There's you probably see that I'm DJ B Fit, but I also got another channel that Drizzle. All right, now DJ B Fit and Drizzle is two different brands. DJ B Fit is my fitness brand. I am a certified physique and bodybuilding coach. So that is my brand that I'm currently working on as well. And then Drizzle is another brand I'm working on, which is a clothing brand. Initially too, I want to say this, how it initially came about it is that Drizzle was affiliated with the movement of, Drizzle was the counter movement of Sprinkle, which I have to admit, I really enjoyed. I still do. But at the same time, I do this. I won't say at the same time. This brand I created with the inspiration of those guys is not necessarily associated with that movement. I want to say, like my statement in Drizzle brand is more so just like let it drizzle, make it rain type. You know what I mean? We're getting money. You know what I mean? If you coming at us with some BS, then we're gonna go ahead and go and make them bullets rain. You know what I mean? So we're gonna make it drizzle. You feel me? Like, so that's what that's my approach when I came out. That's my approach with this brand of Drizzle. All right. So it's not. I want to disassociate myself from them, respectfully, of course. You know what I mean? Because their brand is completely different than my brand, and I want to take that from who are the creator of their brand of Drizzle, which is their counter movement of the counter Sprinkle. But I had a website, I had merch, that was everything I was doing, but I stopped it for a month for the time being because I am very picky when it comes down to quality. And so I had some stuff, the quality wasn't there, so I went ahead and I stopped it. This video, again, I'm right now finding myself as a streamer. I'm going to get into podcast as well. This is right now I'm going through my practice phase, my beta phase in regards of learning what I can and what I cannot do, and then going to go ahead and continue to learning and become better and clean up on this particular skill. So, well, guys, let me go. I gotta get some food in my system, and I'll be right back on the stream. I'm debating if I want to do some gaming or just probably do some, YouTube streaming. See what's on YouTube. Find us a topic. We went over the cost of living in China last night, and it was mind blowing. Actually, I probably do some. You know what? I probably start doing more streaming about going overseas and finding different way. But finding the different rates and the cost of living out there and overseas, going overseas. China, Philippines, Thailand, Portugal, whatever, or Brazil. I know, which I'm gonna try to make my way out there because my cousin, he loves it out there. He actually got property out there, And so I talked to him. I'm trying to make my way out there next time he goes. So, yeah, I'm gonna also start recording my vlogs. I'm gonna start doing like a vlog, start recording my experience when I go overseas. I actually have some footage of when I left to Greece and then when I was in the UK. So I do have some footage when I went out there. I think about if I want to post it or not. But yeah, so uh, so guys, go ahead, feel free, like, comment, subscribe. I know you guys probably gonna watch the whole video. I want to learn how to start clipping these videos to make it a little more shorter, so it can meet everybody's their meet their time crunch, because nobody want to spend on the stream or spend watching the video for 2 hours, especially if the content is just not a little more advanced. I want to say, so hopefully I get there. Bear with me, give me some time. Hopefully I'll get there. All right. So let me go, guys. I will talk to you later.